Welcome to the London School of English Live, and Happy New Year 2021 to everyone. If you want to learn and improve your English this year, then this live stream is for you. Today, our expert English language trainer, Linda Stott, will share with you some very important advice on achieving your English learning goals. This will include tips on setting the goals and developing habits that will make you successful. You will also be able to ask your questions in an interactive question and answer session at the end of the live stream. So please share your questions and comments in the live chat next to the video. If you are new here, this session is sponsored by the London School of English, where you can learn general, business, exam and academic English, both in our face-to-face classes in London and online in virtual groups. And you can find out more information about this on our website, www.londonschool.com. So here with us today, we also have one of my colleagues, Silvia Cupini, who advises clients on choosing the best English language training for them. Silvia would be able to help you with any questions at the end of the live stream, the Q&A session. But before we start and before we get to the main content from Linda, Silvia, could you say a few words about specifically about our English training in virtual groups?
Sure. At the moment, we're delivering several courses virtually, and we have been doing for quite some times now. We run general English classes and business and professional courses. Those are courses run all year round, but we also offer more specialized courses such as HR, English for University, exam training, and so on. So on the image that Olga has just put, you'll find our website where you can find a very long list of all our fantastic virtual courses, which I invite you to go and have a look.
Great, thank you very much, Silvia. And Linda, now over to you for the main part of the live stream.
Thank you very much, Olga. I just want to acknowledge Sophia, I think, if I've pronounced your name correctly. What a fantastic, positive welcome. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Sophia. Thank you so much for your positive greeting. So, firstly, of course, Olga has wished everybody, but I would like to wish you all a very happy new year. May 2021 be a healthy and happy one for you and your family. And since the focus of this YouTube live stream is learning English, I wish you a successful 2021 in achieving your English language learning goals. Right, so let's get straight to it. Our topic is how to learn English in 2021. So most of us start the year off by setting ourselves New Year's resolutions, things that we want to improve or change or do differently in the new year. And very often, by the time we get to February, we abandon these resolutions, or we forget about these resolutions. We give up doing them. So how do we stick to these goals? How do we make sure we achieve these goals? How do we achieve them? How do we go about making sure we continue achieving them all the way through the year? I just want to acknowledge Nagam has also joined us. Welcome to the live stream. Good. So I would like to move on and talk about the SMART approach, which is possibly one of the best tools to use to ensure that you keep going on your targets and your goals and your aims. So let's just break this down. What is the SMART approach? So we have S, which means specific. So here we have set goals. We've got the SMART approach, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So that's quite thank you, Olga. So let's take a look at each of these individual parts of what SMART means. So you set yourself a goal. For instance, this year, I want to learn English. Well, that's a great start. Well done if you get to that point. Also, well done for joining us, because clearly there's a reason why you've joined us. There's a reason why you want to find out about how you can achieve your goals. So well done for getting to this point. But very often what happens is people get to this point of wanting to learn English. Then they go onto the internet. They start looking for courses, for books, etc. And very often you get lost in the maze of what's on offer. So a few weeks later, you begin to lose motivation. You might buy a book or start listening to certain things, but then you find you can't keep going, and then you lose motivation, and generally people stop, and that's when things kind of fall down. So this is where the SMART approach might help you. When using the SMART approach, you might want to break your goals up into two parts. So, of course, when we talk about goals, we often have short-term goals or we have long-term goals. So it's probably a good idea to break your goals up into what do you want to achieve on a short-term basis and what do you want to achieve on a long-term basis. So let's move on a little bit further. Excuse me, how do we apply the SMART approach? Well, let's break it down. As we looked at, Olga gave us this lovely visual. We know that the S in SMART stands for specific. So be more specific about what you want to learn in English. It's not really good enough just to say, I want to learn English, but be more specific. Rather ask yourself, what do I specifically want to learn? This might relate to your needs in terms of work. It might relate to your job. It might relate to purely socializing. Or it could be that you want to learn language related to traveling. So narrow it down and be more specific. For instance, do you want to give a presentation in English? Could this be one of the specific reasons why you want to learn English? Or is it that you want to be able to write emails more effectively? Do you want to learn vocabulary related to your field of work? Or do you want to become better at negotiating in English? Or is it that you want to learn how to manage conversations better? Let's move on and look at the next part of SMART, which is measurable. So if it's vocabulary you want to learn, set a measurable amount to learn. So for instance, learning 5 new words each day. Some might feel that's too much. Some might say learning 2 new words each day is better. Learning anything more than 5 new words each day might just be too much for you. So be clear about what's too much for you, what works best for you, because everyone is different. Then let's look at the next part of SMART, which is the A, which is for achievable. So your goals need to be achievable, or you will very quickly become demotivated and lose interest. For instance, if you know that you're a slow learner, then setting yourself a target of learning 20 words per day would probably not be achievable for you. So it's important to make sure that you understand the pace at which you learn and make sure that what you're setting yourself is achievable. Otherwise, you very quickly get demotivated. So the next word in our SMART goal setting is R, which is for realistic. So if you're going to work full-time, as well as studying English, or perhaps you are a mother, or whatever it is, you need to set a realistic goal. Let's say we could ask yourself, Is it realistic with juggling work and learning, or being a parent and learning? Is it realistic to say that I could learn 5 new words a day based on my schedule? And to be clear, when I talk about learning 5 new words, what I mean is making sure that you understand everything about that new word. So what does the word mean? What is the meaning of this word? In which contexts is it used? Can I use it only in a legal context or only in a financial context? What part of speech is it? Is it a verb? Is it a noun, or is it an adjective? How is it pronounced? Is this word used as part of an idiom? Is it used to form a phrasal verb? And then also looking at example sentences. So very often people make the mistake of just looking at the meaning of the word and move on to the next word. So we can see that if you really, really want to understand the meaning of each and every single word, this takes a little bit of time and research. You need to go into a dictionary and make sure that you really, really know and understand everything about this word and are comfortable to use it in the right part of the sentence and use it in terms of the correct pronunciation. So this takes us now to move on to the last word in SMART, which is the T, time-bound. So it's important to set a deadline, a date when you want to achieve this goal. As I mentioned earlier, you might want to split your goals into 2 categories, so short-term as well as long-term. So a short-term goal, for instance, might be by the end of this week. If you start a course on a Monday, you might say, by the end of this week, my short-term goal is that I would like to be able to use 10 new words, for instance. So moving on, some might say, okay, this SMART approach is great, but how do I keep myself motivated? How do I keep on track with achieving my goals? Now, any suggestions or ideas you might have, please do share them in the comments section. Very often people say, oh, I do this or I do that. Please do share if you would like to in the comments section. I'd just also like to welcome Karuz from India. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Happy New Year to you as well. So let's say, for example, I don't feel I read enough. And I set myself the goal of reading more books this year. So I have the SMART tool I can use to help me. But how do I go from reading 1 book a year to reading more books more regularly? Well, we all know that very often if we want to make a change, it's our habits that we need to change. So there's a really great book by a gentleman called James Clear, and the topic of the book is called Atomic Habits. Thanks, Olga. An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Tiny changes, remarkable results. So what he talks about is how to change habits and achieve your goals. So there are 4 things that he does mention in the book, which you might find quite useful. The first one is make the habit obvious. So for instance, if I want to read more, instead of leaving the book on my bookshelf with all my other books, or on a pile of other books I want to read, I might put the book I want to read in a place where I can see it. Make it obvious. Put it somewhere where you can see it. So, for instance, we visit the toilet regularly, so maybe you want to leave it in the toilet. And when you get there, open the book and start reading a little bit. And maybe you'll be encouraged to take the book back with you into the lounge or wherever it's comfortable. Or perhaps you might want to leave the book near the TV remote. So instead of when you're going up to the TV, put the TV on, you see the book, you make it obvious, make the habit obvious, pick up the book instead of putting the remote on and sit down and read the book. So always put, so what he means by make the habit obvious is, if you buy a grammar book, for instance, put the book somewhere obvious, and that it would be a reminder. So the next thing he talks about is to make the habit attractive. So my suggestion would be that if reading is something that you want to do more of, perhaps you would choose a book that sparks your interest, or a topic or a genre that you're interested in. Of course, if we want to change something, it's much easier to move into something that we enjoy. So finding a topic that's interesting, finding a genre that's interesting and appealing to you, that's going to make it much more attractive to you. The third thing he talks about is to make the habit easy and convenient. So for instance, if you're wanting to read much more, to actually buy a thick academic book and then set yourself a SMART goal time limit to say, I'm going to finish this book in 2 weeks. Probably if you're having a problem with reading more books, you're certainly not going to achieve reading a thick academic book within 2 weeks. So choose a book that isn't too difficult to understand or read. So that could be easy and a little bit more convenient. Perhaps also a smaller book to start off with. Perhaps even a book of short stories could help you. Then the fourth thing that he talks about is to make the habit satisfying. And of course, this is something I think that always appeals to everybody. So when you have changed the habit, you've started reading more, at the end of your session of reading, reward yourself afterwards. Perhaps a lovely cup of tea or coffee, or perhaps you might want to have a delicious piece of cake afterwards. Perhaps even you might call a friend and chat about the book you are reading over a cup of tea and cake. And I love this picture. I now immediately want to go and start reading. So work the theory back and start reading a book, and then reward myself with this delicious piece of cake, this yummy piece of cake, and a cup of coffee. So we've got lots of ideas here. So if we take the atomic habit idea and use it for changing our habits to keep on track with learning English, and combine it with the SMART approach, it might look like something like this. So for instance, you might decide to listen to a podcast, choose a topic that you're interested in, and set a time that, let's say, for instance, of 10 minutes a day. Of course, you have to assess what works for you. It could be 5 minutes, but perhaps it's 10. Choose a time of day that works for you. There's no point in choosing a time that's going to really throw you out, or it's not convenient. You're going to be a little bit stressed about it. So think about your day and slot in a time, choose a time that works for you. Also, very importantly, that you choose a place to sit where you are comfortable and relaxed, rather than choosing a chair or a place in the house where you don't feel comfortable. So choose a place to sit where you are comfortable and relaxed. And then, of course, clearly afterwards, reward yourself. That's the key thing, to reward yourself. Even if you do a group lesson or anything like that, you should really, after a course, daily course, at the end of that course, maybe make yourself a delicious cup of tea or coffee or a piece of cake or a nice biscuit, just to, yes, I'm doing it, I'm on track. So he also says that, and we know this as language teachers, that habits, when they are repeated and repeated and repeated, this works with language as well. When habits are repeated and repeated and repeated, often eventually the brain gets it and goes, yes, I've got it. Now I understand what we need to do. Make your habits sustainable, achievable, as well as realistic. So using the atomic habits in conjunction with the SMART goal setting will definitely help you a lot. So the key thing is to fully immerse yourself in your English language experience, Change your phone or computer settings to English. Watch, listen, or read something in English for 10 minutes every day and create something achievable. Perhaps you write an email to a friend in English. Go on to different websites where there are opportunities to write a review. Write reviews on websites in English to try and help you practice if writing is something that you feel you would like to improve. Go on to Instagram, go on to Facebook, write comments in English. Don't be shy about making mistakes. We all make mistakes, and this is how we learn. You've got to keep the momentum going. Write your own goals down. What do you want to achieve? What are your goals, your SMART goals? Review them frequently, because remember, often this changes. You start off with a short-term SMART goal, and then perhaps in 2 or 3 weeks you realize, wow, I can do more, or I need to do less. So review them regularly. You might want to or need to adapt these goals often, as I mentioned. Choose things always that interest you, because once you're interested in something, you're halfway there into the process. And I think that's quite key. Don't judge your progress on how others are doing. This is a big mistake. Often we look at people and say, oh, they're doing much better than me. Oh, I probably can't do it. No, keep going, keep going, keep going, because not everyone has the same skills and the same, is at the same level as somebody else. So you might be better at speaking, they might be better at listening, etc., etc. Don't look at someone else and judge your progress. Keep your own goals, SMART goals, atomic habits, and just keep going. Don't choose the easy options. So if you know that you're comfortable, you're very comfortable with learning 5 new words every day, push yourself a little bit more. Say, okay, this week I'm going to try learning maybe 6 or 7. So push yourself out of those comfort zones so that you keep attaining for something higher. And the key thing is, do not be afraid of making mistakes. And also the most important thing, don't make excuses. I can't learn now because most schools are closed due to COVID. I'll wait until they're open. Be positive. Say to yourself, I have a plan to learn English. I have a goal to learn English. Do you know what? I'm going to try an online course, even if I just try for 1 week. See how it goes. And when schools reopen, I'll join a face-to-face course. So we've got a short-term goal. I want to learn English. I'm going to do an online course. Long-term goal. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to go to London, or want to come to London, or wherever it is, and I want to actually do a face-to-face course. But whatever happens, I'm going to make a start. Yeah, I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to join this course, and I'm going to stick to my plan of learning English using all these different tools, SMART goals, as well as atomic habits. And I urge you to make a start. You've arrived here today on this live session. If you're not in the live session, you're perhaps listening to it as a recorded session. You've got here at this point for a reason. I urge you to make a start, join a course, pick up a book, make a change. Don't put off things that you can do today, now. So I want to just say thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And back over to you, Olga and Sylvia, and anybody who would like to join us in the group.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda. And thank you for everyone participating in the live chat. It's really interesting to see your comments and your questions. So please write your questions or your comments, and we will answer them in this question and answer session. Linda, particularly, I loved a lot of tips and advice that you shared with us, particularly the one about making it sustainable and finding the right work and life and learning balance, because a lot of our clients, for example, are either very busy business people that have to juggle learning English with also their business or their work.
Absolutely.
Or, for example, parents, as you mentioned, mothers, fathers, who now also have to homeschool children as well.
Yes.
And yeah, and Sylvia, I know that you work with, you help our potential clients and clients with quite a lot of questions related to learning English, including with us. So would you like to share anything else in terms of the tips for reaching learning English objectives in 2021?
Sure. What Linda's just shared is a great tool if you decide to set your goal and do some self-study. So when you do self-study, those are amazing tips. Obviously, we as a London School will be happy to help you with perhaps, obviously, a course which will push you on a more steady commitment. So so we do actually have had loads of requests in the last few days, as perhaps a New Year's resolution. Learning a language has been for many, that they've contacted us with the intention exactly of improving their language skills. And we've had clients, exactly, some just wanting to learn the English in general, and some with a much longer project. And those are the one I enjoy the most. So they set themselves, as Linda would say, long but achievable goals. So I deal with a lot of professionals, and I've had a few who we have together come up with a very nice and doable timetable. So maybe a combination of few weeks, perhaps then a week off, and then few other weeks, so that it is manageable. But also many of them say, I need something or somebody that pushes me to continue, because the New Year's resolution are great in January, but when you get to end of February, they're already gone.
Yeah.
So loads of our clients come to us and they trust us. They say, okay, I need your help as experts. So they may be joining our group courses, which Linda teaches some of them, or they join a more self-study tool, or they do individual tuition, depending on whichever course. Some actually have set their goal for when we reopen the school and do a face-to-face. But they're all very keen, and this is what we push our clients to do. Just what, in a way, Linda was suggesting, some achievable and set clear goals.
Yeah. Great.
I think that, sorry. Go ahead, Olga, sorry.
Linda, we'll get back to you in a minute. But we have some questions from our audience, and I also wanted to bring up some of the comments from the live stream. So we have Sophia Tentavi Asri, who's got an absolutely amazing New Year's resolution to start her own online business this year, which is, Sophia, we hope and we wish you to really succeed. And what she's focused on right now is actually she needs English to be able to do this, particularly in her, she's saying here that in my new business, marketing is very important, and most marketing courses are in English. So, for example, Sylvia and Linda, specifically, because there are a lot of people who need to study vocabulary for a particular industry, like here, for example, marketing, or they need to kind of, what in this particular situation, for example, what would you advise Sophia to do? For example, if she wants to approach this by herself, or if she wants to approach this, for example, by taking the training with us, what would you recommend?
Well, obviously, very much depends on your level of English. So many of the clients come to us and do perhaps an English course that will help them preparing for like a marketing course like Sophia is currently attending. So they share with us this very need. It's okay, I'll be attending a very specific course and I need to brush up my English, or I need to be ready to best perform at this course. So in this case, obviously, we advise whichever is the best course, whether it's a group or perhaps one-to-one tuition.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps the most sensible decision is, look perhaps what you need before actually getting into such a course.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the language, the right tools to then attend those courses.
Mm-hmm. Linda, what would you say to Sophia? What would be your advice?
I think Sylvia's covered everything.
Yeah, great. Another question is from Andreas Schmutzle, who is bringing up a very a problem that is, I think, shared by a lot of English learners. Definitely a lot of people who contact us so that they can book a course or take a training with us, which is speaking is the problem. It's not the understanding. How can people develop their speaking skills in 2021?
Do you want to do it this one, Linda, as a trainer?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, obviously, the speaking part is something that having an interaction with somebody will definitely help. So there are several ways to do it, obviously, depending on budget and your dedication. Obviously, we as a school offer several courses that can help you with that. But I guess perhaps to join groups where you can communicate with maybe people from other parts of the world will help you to practice the speaking. But again, it depends on how accurate you want to get into your speaking. And obviously, perhaps having a trainer that will guide you through that will be the best investment.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you. And Linda, I know that you wanted to add something just earlier. Would you like to share it with us?
Oh, I've forgotten what that was. I've been listening so intently to Sylvia and looking at all the questions. I don't remember specifically what it was, but I think just in general, I think that it's always a good idea that if you want to improve any aspect of your English, it's always a good idea, I think, to join a course, because you have the support of a teacher, you have the opportunity to in real time ask any questions. So very often it's also important when you're learning a language to do a period of self-study as well. I would say it's almost a requirement, which is part of that full immersion into the language. But I think what's really great about doing a course is the fact that you have this instant access to a teacher. If a question comes up or a grammar point comes up that you're not clear on, or pronunciation or whatever it is, that you have access to this, to a teacher. And not only that you have a group, if you're in a group, that you have other people that you can sort of ask, work with your classmates, and sort of form some kind of a support group with your classmates. And I think that's really important, because it's great if you use these SMART goals, you use these atomic habits to get yourself off your chair, so to speak, and start learning. But and as Sylvia was talking about, this period of self-study, and it is important, but you can also use these SMART goals and the atomic habits in the process of actually attending a course as well. I think because it gives you some kind of motivation personally, because very often teaching students, they'll say, oh, by the end of this week, I'd like to achieve this. And very often as teachers, what we do is that on a Monday, we would make an assessment. What are your needs? In other words, getting back to that SMART thing, specifically what it is that do you want to achieve? What do you want to learn this week? And throughout the week, there's a reference back to this timetable. Are we still on track? Do we want to change it? Do we want to review it? And then get into Friday and saying, wow, look at this. We actually achieved all of these things. And so I think that's really important. The SMART the SMART goals and the atomic habits, you can use it as a self-study tool, but most definitely you'll be using it in your class as well, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Thank you,
So
Linda.
yeah, I would say join a group.
Thank you.
Eventually, you'll get to that point, even if you resist it immediately. But I think at some point, you definitely need to join a group for it to be more effective, especially with speaking.
Yeah, and I do have one more question specifically about face-to-face and virtual groups. But before this, we've got a question from Jackie, who's asking if these tips are also for improving speaking are also applicable for reading, writing, and listening skills.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think definitely, I think that it would apply to all of the skills. You know, it's a general thing of wanting to learn a language. So of course, again, it's about getting specific. Do I need this right now for speaking? Is it more important? Maybe you're doing some sort of academic course. The speaking side isn't important. Perhaps the reading and writing is more important. At the school, we offer a lot of academic courses. So maybe it's about that you might feel, oh, okay, I might at this point need to join one of these academic courses so that I become much more skilled at that. And of course, this SMART goals, the atomic habits, all of these would apply to all of the skills, whichever way you're doing it, I think.
That's great. Yeah, thank you, Linda. And it's so good to see a lot of our viewers congratulating us and each other with a Happy New Year. So just
say hi to everyone. Andreas, Giuseppe, Ali, just acknowledging you all. Thank you so much for signing on, especially because we're still just waking up to the new year, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And one last question. When it comes to studying in face-to-face groups, for example, in London, that we provide, or virtual groups online, is there any difference in terms of effectiveness of the training? Sylvia, would you like to start?
We actually back in sometimes last year we had a whole session on this, wasn't it, Olga? So I'm sure you can go back on our recording and see how we exploit both options and talked about in quite great lengths about both solutions. I still think, and this is what when I'm asked, I'd say that in terms of classroom time, I would say that both options are just identical. The quality of the trainers is the same, the intensity is the same. Obviously, the most obvious reason is that perhaps when you do a virtual course, you do not have the London experience or anything that happens outside the classroom. But in terms of language input, I would say that is just as good.
Yeah.
So right now where traveling is difficult, and right now when traveling is so difficult, so then don't stop your plans, but you can get a fantastic language course on a virtual group.
Great. And Linda, what's your perspective as a trainer on this?
Well, again, I think I tend to agree with Sylvia. I think everything Sylvia has said ticks all the boxes, because I think it's absolutely right that, whether you're a teacher online or whether you're a teacher in a classroom, the skills are the same. Your style is the same. The way that you motivate students is the same. Of course, there are some adjustments. It's a little bit more intense, obviously online, but that's a good thing. People are pushed out of comfort zones because you're pushed to speak much more and engage. But as Sylvia also said, some people miss with the online. You don't have the full immersion. In other words, you don't leave the school and then go to a pub or go to buy something and you have to speak English. But I found that a lot of people have said, well, it depends on your situation. Actually, online works for me. I'm running a massive company. I'm a CEO. I don't have time, to come to London. Even if I could come to London now, it would be quite difficult because I've got a lot of projects. It's great. I can just tune in. I can choose a time slot that works for me. So some of the groups that I'm teaching start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's not because it's suits us. This time is rigged up and set up for people who say, you know what, I want to start at 6, finish at 9:30, and then go straight to work after that, or go straight into a meeting. So, I think the school is very carefully thought out what works for everybody. A lot is tailor-made, and I find a lot of people say, wow, this works for me. I was a bit nervous in the beginning. I only booked 1 week, but I'm so happy with it. I've now extended, and I think we spoke about that quite a lot, Sylvia. We've had a lot of students that have said, oh, this is working, let's extend. Yeah. But I want to just pick up, so I don't think there is any difference. I think the difference comes in where you make that resolution to start improving, and then you fall short when you go, but online, and I don't know, and oh no, it could be no, just make the start, and you'll find that actually, it works. It's fantastic. It's better. Remember that teachers are human beings. They're people. They're going to assess your needs. They're going to help you. They're going to support you. And I think that's important. But I want to just pick up on what Roni said. He said, I'm not sure, I think it's a chap, Roni Andre. He says, I'd like to know if it's necessary, and I love this, it's so great. I'd like to know if it's necessary, all those fancy constructions and sentences to actually speak and communicate English. Well, therein lies my point about, right at the very beginning of this clip, this YouTube live, I said, you need to be specific. So it's not sufficient to say, I just want to learn English. If you're in very formal situations, or remember, there's a big difference between speaking and writing. So if you're writing lots of formal emails, yes, then unfortunately these fancy constructions and sentences would be necessary. In the same way, if you're speaking in a formal setting, yes, these fancy constructions and sentences would be important. But if you're just socializing and it's far less formal, more neutral, yeah, sure, then you wouldn't need them. So it depends on what your needs are. So again, if you need these fancy constructions because of business, then you need to go and do a business course, because that's going to give you that. But if you want just a general way of speaking, those fancy constructions aren't crucially important necessarily, then you could go and do a general English course. So that, again, the reason why I honed in on that was because I think that really sort of whittles it down to saying, okay, specifically, what do I need? I need these complex language sentences, and we know that complexity comes with formality, much longer words, much longer sentences. So do I need that? Is it important for me? What specifically is it that you want to focus on? And I think that's what Sylvia was saying, is helping people to get to that specific understanding of what they need, because it's about your needs. And then finding where you fit in with a course or whatever it is that's on offer.
That's amazing. Yeah, an amazing question, Roni. I also want to acknowledge several of our alumni who just
of your ex-students, Linda.
I know, it's amazing. I'm like Costanza and Giuseppe. It's like, wow, guys, hi.
Giuseppe,
I feel it makes my heart skip.
Was with us last year, and Linda was Giuseppe's teacher.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You made my day. You made my night. You made my 2021, both of you.
And we've got Another comment from Constanza Cristiani.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes, again, July 2018, one of our alumni. So we really glad
Thank you
that
so much for your comments and for joining. You really don't know how much it means.
yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And we also have another comment, and this is when we really need to wrap up because we've covered quite a lot
Yes.
today, and unfortunately the time of the live stream is limited, but you can of course write questions either in the comments below or get in touch with us on our email at clients@londonschool.com, which is shown here on screen at the moment. But one of the questions is from, let me find it. Unfortunately, I can't read. I think it's Arabic, but the question is, are there scholarships for studying English? So generally, we have all of our training is paid, but we do quite a lot to contribute back to society and to people in generally around the world. And we do have Google Trust as one of our as one of the arms of the London School Group that support art and educational projects. But Sylvia, would you like to say more?
Yeah, we do have obviously a partnership with several countries that do provide scholarship. So we do have, I can see obviously your Arab script. So yes, we do have, for example, some agreement with some countries in the Middle East. If that's what if that's what he meant, please do contact us. Clients at the London School of English, as we do have some partnerships and with some scholarship. So please do contact us. Yeah.
Can I quickly add something, because this is quite important? Roni mentions because sometimes grammar is a bit boring. Well, again, so this could be a thing where you say, I don't want to study English because grammar is a bit boring. Well, you haven't experienced studying with the London School of English. Nothing we do is boring. And I'm sure Costanza and Giuseppe would vouch for that there's nothing boring about the grammar that we do, because we don't do it in a boring book way. So it's all about speaking, interaction, and learning while you're in the process of doing this. So it can be boring. It depends on the teacher, it depends on the school, and it depends how the course is delivered. And most certainly, if you look at our reputation on Trustpilot, you'll see that certainly no one talks about grammar being boring. Oh, there you go. You see. Thank you.
And one final question, Sylvia, to you. For anybody who would like to join us and book a course, what should they do?
First I would say have a look at our website. There are loads of courses, and we've been praised for a very simple and straightforward presentation of our courses. So have a little browsing around our website. As I said, at the moment, for many, it is difficult to come to the UK and to travel. So there is a beautiful session on just your online and virtual classes. So have a look at that, and you'll come up with a list of great courses. But if you go onto our website, there is a way for you to leave us a message and to ask for more information. There is chats, so you can just log in and leave us a message on our chat, or drop us an email at clients@thelondonschool.com, and one of us, perhaps me, will reply to your email. Oh, also pick up the phone. We're always online.
Great, fantastic.
Do it now. Don't wait.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, now not, because the office is almost closed. tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Linda and Sylvia, for this fantastic advice and all of the tips that you've shared with us. It's really, really useful, and it's great to start 2021 with all of this and kind of inspired and hopeful. And we also would like to say thank you very much to all of our viewers and our wonderful, lovely alumni joining us today, and for all your questions and sharing your time. We hope that you've got a fantastic 2021, that you achieve not only your goals related to work or health or any other things, but also related to your English language learning and improving, and that you'd be able to speak absolutely confidently and fluently by the end of 2021. If you are interested in more sessions like today, we have them on the regular basis on Thursdays. So, for example, if any of you are consider, for example, joining some of our face-to-face classes later this year, for example, summertime or at any period, then we would have a live stream next Thursday on how to get the best out of your English language immersion when you're actually on the ground, for example, in London. Join us for that session. And then there's another session on business English expressions and phrasal verbs in 2 weeks. So you can join us, and there will be more sessions, including sessions with Linda. So do subscribe to the channel, and also share the videos with your friends and colleagues and family members so that they can learn English too. On this note, we'd like to wish you a fantastic 2021, and have a very good rest of the day wherever you are joining us from.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, fantastic. Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, thank you.
What would you like to say?
I just wanted to thank them again, Costanza and Giuseppe. Really made my day. Thank you so much, everybody. Well, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care. Be safe. Keep learning English.
Yeah, definitely. Keep learning English. Bye-bye.
Bye.